Welcome back, my friends. We are here again with my amazing friend, Rebeka Beavers, who talked to us last time all about the creepy crawlies that live inside our bodies, and not the good ones, not the gut microbiome that we want to live there, but the yucky ones that try to eat all the food we take in. And
And stealing our nutrients.
the one stealing our nutrients, exactly. So if you missed that podcast, please go back and listen to that. You definitely do not want to miss that one. It is fantastic and really, really gently leads into what we want to talk about today. Because today we are talking about, it is the time of year, which you wouldn't know based on what we're wearing because we live in the South and it is still warm here, but it is fall and winter. Yeah. In some parts of the world, it is already winter. Some parts of the US even, it is winter, but for us here in the South, it is still fake fall, is what I keep calling it, because it's like 85 degrees still here today. But we wanted to talk about fall and winter wellness and how to maintain our healthy bodies, support our bodies, as well as the bodies of our loved ones through the winter, so we can maybe, fingers crossed, avoid the nasty plague that seems to go around every year.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I saw this meme on, the intersocials, the interwebs of the socials where it was saying like, it's not, flu season. It's candy season.
100%.
By, sugar pie season at Thanksgiving. And then it's like literally a whole 2 solid months of just like the foods that we're eating, and we're not getting the vitamin D from the sun because it's gone, and we're not moving our bodies because we're so busy in the shuffle of the holiday season and the stress of the holiday season. And I was like, never have I seen a truer statement than that for sure. Like, why is cold and flu season during this time of the year? Because our immune systems are taking hit after hit after hit,
Yep.
and we gotta protect. We gotta like give them the support. I'm not saying don't go trick or treating. I mean, maybe I am. Well, what I'm saying. But if you're gonna go trick or treating, maybe here are some things that will help your body and like supporting it as you're also getting to enjoy life a little bit.
Well, and we all feel it because then we get to the end of December and everyone is excited for quote unquote New Year's resolutions, right? And they're like, "Oh, I'm going to do a sugar-free January, or I'm going to do a dry January, or I'm going to do whatever," because you recognize that your body is so inflamed and so miserable after 3 months of binging on sugar or alcohol or, whatever other wonderful pastries you have given yourself. Because don't get me wrong, I also like them, okay? Okay. I'm not saying this because I am anti eating all the things. I'm saying this because I have been there so many times.
And that's why we like have hacked the system a little bit. Like we've
Yeah.
figured ways to support our bodies within that season because we have been there. We needed it for ourselves, for our own families. We're not here like saying like you need to do this and you need to do that. We're like, hey guys, we know it's a lot out there, and
Yeah.
we're here to help you because we've been there. And once you know, you can't unknow.
Yep.
And you don't want to be gatekeeping that information. You want to
Exactly.
share it because if it's helped you or helped your family, how selfish of us to not share what has blessed us?
Well, and I like to think that we're putting just a little bit of positive information back out there where so much negative exists. And so I'm like, here's just a little bit of good. Just take it, in. Just add it to your collection.
Wow. Hopefully this shows up in your algorithm if you need it. If you
Yeah,
need
right.
me.
That's right. Yeah, I hope so. So, Rebeka, this whole wellness journey for you has been a long one. It's been a long one. I know we've talked about your journey a bit in another podcast, which people can go back and look at, and we'll kind of plug it here so they can, if you check out the link, then you'll be able to find that and go back and listen to the other podcast. But it's been kind of a long journey, and you have kids, and how do you care for your family during this season?
So yeah, I have a 17, he'll be 18 in like 2 weeks.
Oh my gosh, she's not a baby anymore.
Oh, man, it's very funny. It's comical. So yeah, we'll just say I have an 18-year-old
Yeah.
and I have a 14-year-old daughter. And I have learned many things over the last 14 years, really, because when Macy was born, that's really when I started changing our lifestyle.
Yeah.
And so it's been a journey over the last 14 years. So if what we're saying today seems like a lot, it's because we didn't do this overnight. We implemented little things over time that, because of a compound effect, we are now experiencing, like, on the other side of those things. So, I think my advice from this podcast as we're sharing the different things that we feel like help us, is that even if you take one tiny thing
Yep.
and you implement that in your life, that could be a catalyst for like a life overhaul throughout your journey. Like 14 years down the road for you, you may turn around and be like, it was that one darn podcast, Whole Life Vitality with Lauren and her guest, Rebeka Beavers, that like totally turned my world upside down. That's really our hope, I think.
Yeah, that just started the one thing that then helps you build, because for both of us, it was just something. And we're like, we don't have space for everything because we don't. I started when I had babies. They were itty bitty and I did not have time for any of the things. But I'm like, I can do this thing and learn a little bit more about this thing and then incorporate that as needed. And it just, that information builds on itself and you just learn more and more until eventually, maybe, 15 years later, it becomes second nature. So that's what we're hoping for you. And even then, all these years later, Rebeka called me a couple weeks ago and said, my son is dealing with this. What do we need to do? And we sat on the phone and I was like, okay, this is what I would do. And we got a whole list of all these natural remedies that she could use. And half a day later, he was up and moving again.
Yeah. It was our strep protocol.
It was our strep protocol. We are not doctors, guys.
No, we're not. We're not. We're just mom. We're just mom. That's who we are. But yeah, for real, it was just like I needed to be reminded because we haven't experienced something like this in a while. And it's like the information is in there, but sometimes don't you guys feel like that but you just need somebody to unlock it for you?
Mhm.
And why living in community is one of the many reasons why living in community is like a must.
Yep.
Because you have each other. You need sounding boards. You need somebody to help you unlock that part of your brain that hasn't been open for 13 years.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, and I can't tell you how often it is that I call you or message another friend and I'm like, okay, this is what's going on. And maybe I just need to talk it through. And then you say something that I'm like, oh, yeah, that I know. And it unlocks all that other information and I'm able to move forward with that information. So, yes, I completely agree. Community, having people that support you just makes all the difference. And that's why we're here, because we want to support you. We want to encourage you. So, Rebeka, in doing this, one of the things that I know you learned about was elderberry.
Yes.
And you had a friend who kind of hooked you up in the elderberry department. I've heard you talk about it for years,
Yeah.
that this is something that you used in your family. Why did you use elderberry and what benefits did you see there?
Yeah. So our family's been eating elderberry in some way, shape, or form for the last decade.
Okay.
And I met up with this friend of mine. I met her through my daughter. Our girls are the same age and they're friends. And my Macy went to school one day and took like some kombucha to school. And her friend was like, you know about kombucha? And Macy's like, yeah, my mom drinks kombucha. And she was like, my mom drinks kombucha. And then it was like instant like friendship. I love that. Like, we need to get our moms together. And so finally it happened and Amber and I met and it was just like, the universe aligned and it was like, did we just become best friends? Because like instantly it was just such a cool divine appointment. It was just so cool. So I met her in the perfect time because I had just started leading worship at our local church and lost my voice, got sick, lost my voice, had to sing. And so I knew that this gal, my new best friend, she was like cooking up some kind of like, medicinal elderberry something or other in her kitchen. And so I met up with her and I was like, I need a miracle. Do you have one? And she was like, well, it's not a miracle, but it may help. And so I got it from her that day. I think we stood in the parking lot and talked to each other for like 2 hours. I'm not even kidding. And I took this elderberry home and I'm drinking it. And as I'm drinking it, it's crazy. It's crazy. So elderberry is one of those foods, it's a berry. It grows like we have it here in Texas. It grows prolifically. I don't know if you guys have it where you are.
We have no, not a lot of elderberry. We have, beauty berries, which is so interesting. Not quite the same, but a similar concept, and you can actually make, like, beauty berry jam and things out of it. It's just randomly growing on bushes. So weird, but no, not the elderberry here.
Amazing. Wow. So beauty berries. Well,
I
I'm
know.
very excited.
So
So we have elderberries here, and elderberries are one of those foods that I think they're like the second highest in polyphenols.
okay,
And
what's polyphenol?
if you don't know what polyphenol is, it is pretty much like we all have free radicals floating around in our bodies because of our environment, what we're eating, the air that we breathe, the water that we drink. Like we got toxins in our bodies.
And the
Free,
free radicals are the bad ones. They're the ones that make us sick.
yes. Yeah. They're floating around in there and you don't want that. Okay. So polyphenols are these compounds that combat free radicals, like eliminate them. So yeah, pretty much.
The
Yeah,
1-2.
the 2-1 punch, like, take that, free radicals. So, what's really cool is, like, foods like elderberry, they're, like, deep purple color, okay? So, those are the foods that are kinda high in polyphenols. So, you'll start to notice that when you go to the grocery store and you go to the produce section, and you'll be like, "Oh, that must be high in polyphenols." It's like that dark, rich color.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's what it is. It's just compounds that combat free radicals. And in turn, that helps to reduce or eliminate chronic illness. Um,
Wow.
high inflammation, super anti inflammatory.
Well, and I know I'm familiar with it. I think maybe you are, maybe our listeners are not. But when your inflammation levels go up, your immune system goes down and you become more susceptible to all sorts of illness. So, stress can cause your inflammation to go up. A poor diet can cause your inflammation to go up. Not enough rest, not enough sleep, not sleeping well. Lots of things can cause your inflammation to increase. So, we definitely need something like this. Everyone needs something like this to keep your body functioning optimally.
Yes. How we want it. We want to feel good. We want to be
Yeah.
well. Who wants to be sick?
Yep.
And I think that's what I love about foods like this is like it's really simple stuff. It's something that grows out like on your property, like, easily. You probably if you live in Texas, you probably have elderberry around you, like, close by, and you don't even know it.
It's amazing.
So, I don't know, I think it's really simple, and that's what I love about healing your body with food.
Yeah.
It's grown in the ground because it's simple, it's not hard. We like to make things really hard, but it's not.
Well, and it's so interesting because when you look at the compounds of most medicines, I say all, then those the chemical compounds come from nature. They come from a concept from nature. So they take like, oh, look, the elderberry is high in polyphenol. So how can we take and isolate something from the elderberry and recreate it with synthetic chemicals and then mass produce it and give it to the public? So they are trying to do the same thing in our bodies, but the reality is our bodies were formed
Yeah.
the same way nature was formed.
Yeah.
Not this that we were not made in a lab. We were made the same way nature was made, and so those 2 things go together, and these 2 things do not.
I always say, like, God made food for a God made body.
100%.
Everything that's in that elderberry, like, it all works together for the good of your body. So, like, you could extract the polyphenol, but what else is in that elderberry that is beneficial? And actually, your body needs that to activate the polyphenols. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
designed like it's a perfect design. So when we kind of go in and we're like messing with it, yeah, it could still be beneficial. I'm not saying that it won't be beneficial at all. It could be, but it's not the way that it was necessarily designed to work.
Right. Well, and we need, an apple, for instance, if you take and isolate different parts of that apple, like the vitamin C in an apple is actually quite high, but when you isolate just the vitamin C, you don't get very much. When you eat the whole apple and get everything from the apple, then your body absorbs a ton of vitamin C from it because it needs all those other pieces to actually let your body get all the vitamin C out of it that it needs. So exactly what you were saying, you need all those pieces. You need the whole picture, not just the little like, "Oh, well, this might be good," not just the little picking and choosing out of what you like. So you're getting the whole berry when you're doing something like an elderberry supplement, or how do you consume your elderberry?
Well, we make a elderberry, you could call it a syrup. It's not a syrup as in like you're pouring it over your pancakes. It's a syrup like it's a medicine, like a medicinal syrup, you know? So the way that we make our elderberry is we cook it slow, slow, slow. I'm hesitant to even say cook it because our goal is to never boil it, never to cook it too hot where it's going to kill off any of that divinely inspired nutrients. We want all of that. So it's a long process. It's like an all day process because
Wow.
we're trying to keep the integrity of the nutrients and the antioxidants intact with it. And so we also add in different things like silent cinnamon or ginger, things that we also know are great for our bodies that our bodies need to help stay healthy and well. And so, yeah, and we have an option that is sweetened. We like to use honey to sweeten ours. We've actually experimented with different things and we always go back to the honey. We use like an organic raw honey,
Yeah.
which again, so many holistic homeopathic benefits from that, right?
Yeah.
But we also make like an unsweetened version because some people can't have honey. You
Yeah.
know, you're a cancer patient or you're a toddler or a young baby, they're not supposed to have honey until they're 1 year old, but everybody needs elderberry, so
That's really cool. I didn't realize that. So this friend of yours who you met that hooked you up originally with the elderberry, you say we make it. So is that something that you are doing with her now?
yes. So she had this incredible recipe for the elderberry syrup. And so we kind of joined forces. And so we have a business that's called Sage Legacy Provisions. And so our goal is just to have these provisions of sorts to help families stay well and aid their bodies in like the healing process.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. That's so cool. I can't wait to try it. That's awesome. So then is this something that you do the elderberry syrup, is it something that you just do if you're sick? When would you use it?
That's such a good question. So we suggest having elderberry all year round because even when you're not in like quote unquote cold and flu season or sick season, your body still needs those nutrients. And if you can, like you said, keep the inflammation down, keep those free radicals at bay all year round, then when sick season comes, you're not fighting like from a deficit per se. I'm not saying you're never gonna get sick. Everybody's gonna get sick, and actually getting sick is like a part of your body's way of detoxing. It's a
Right.
really beautiful thing.
Yeah.
It can be a really beautiful thing. I know it's not always for everybody, but it can be, and so that is one of the, like, things that we suggest is, like, you kinda wanna be in a maintenance mode giving your body all year round, but if you are during cold and flu season, during sick season, you wanna hit it a little bit harder. So
Yeah.
you're amping up your intake. If you are sick, if you're battling an illness, you are really dosing yourself up because at the end of the day, you can't overdose on it because it's food.
That's what I was gonna ask. So when you say use it all year round, how much are you using all year round?
So our recommended like dosage, I guess you could say, would be like a tablespoon a day for an adult and a teaspoon a day for a kid.
Okay, so for anybody all year round, that would be a good way to do it. And I think I've seen you make like a mocktail with it. What did you put in that? It looked so good.
I feel like I'm so bougie. Oh my god.
I love it.
So, yeah, so I made a mocktail with the elderberry and I just did like, your preferred ice, whether that's crushed or pebble ice or whatever just gets you going. And this was like in the dead heat of the summer, you guys, here in Texas. So it was like just heavenly. Okay. So I would get my ice and I would do a sparkling water of choice. Okay. I really like the spindrift ones because they have less of the crap, That's,
We like it with less of the crap. That sounds great.
yeah, it's like, hey, we say that this is lemon flavored and we actually used real lemon to flavor it. Like we didn't use a chemical to flavor it.
Well, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, so I like to use the Spindrift sparkling water. I like to use the lemon ones. I will tell you guys the raspberry lime, so good.
Right.
Recommend.
Mental note, gonna have to get some raspberry lime spindrift. Thank you for that.
They're so good. So just the sparkling water, and then however much of our Sage Legacy Provisions elderberry that you want. And like I said, it's sweetened with honey, so it's already sweetened. You don't have to add anything to it. And I'm telling you, the best part about this, well, besides the elderberry and that it's like I'm putting really good stuff in my body, is like if you are a basil lover, if you just like kind of rub basil, kind of get it really nice and fragrant in your hands, and then like kind of toss that on top of your drink, it's just the aromatic. Oh my God, it's so good. So a little fresh herb in there, and then just, straw and just sip away and enjoy. And that is one of my favorite. I have a friend that mixes it with like a lemonade.
Oh,
It's like an elderberry. So then it's like an elderberry lemonade. Malt.
yeah. Oh, that sounds so good. And that doesn't seem like it would be hard to get my children to drink.
Right. For sure. If they don't like it by itself, which, our kids are pretty used to taking things like, we're like, here's an herb, take it. And they're like, okay.
No.
I know that's not the case for everybody. This is something that is definitely kid approved. Like my friend Amber, who's the creator of the elderberry recipe, she has littles. So it's kind of funny because like my kids are, 18 and 14. So, and but she has the littles. And so her daughter, her name is Sage, and she is our taste tester because that girl will straight up tell you like it is. So every batch is small batch made. And
Oh.
we have to do that just because it's important to us again that we're keeping as much nutrients intact. But we're like, okay, say just taste test time and she will straight up tell us if it's bad.
Wow. Well, that's great because, I love a kid who can't keep a straight face, who cannot lie. Like, at least, if the 4-year-old likes it, anybody will eat it.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
That's fantastic. So, do you ship?
Yeah, we do. We ship.
Okay, cool. So anybody can get it. I mean, I know I am, 600 miles away from you. So I would love to not drive 600 miles to go get it.
Yeah. Don't worry, girl. We're gonna get you hooked up. We're
That
gonna
would be fantastic. Okay, so all of the things that lead us to have a healthy body over the course of the fall and winter season are really what Rebecca was saying about tending to your body year round. If you wait until the seasons start changing, until, flu season is already in full swing and people around you are getting sick, then it's not saying it's too late, but you're just not really setting yourself up for as much success as you could have if you started much earlier. An immune response in your body is a healthy response in your body. If you're like, well, I never get sick. I eat horrible. I don't sleep very well. I never get sick. Do you know that if your immune system drops really, really low, your body's number one job is to keep you alive. And if your immune system drops low, then your body's like, that's okay. I'm going to keep us alive. It's fine. We're going to handle this. And if you get a cold, you will not get a runny nose and you will not get a fever and you will not get a sore throat. And all this stuff will just build up in your body. And then all of a sudden you'll wind up really, 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 really sick. And you don't know how you got there. What we want is we get exposed to something and our nose starts to run a little bit and it flushes out the germ, or our throat begins to get a little sore and our body purges out. We have that immune response. We have a slight fever. The white blood cells release and they fight off those germs. And then we move on and we're stronger for it. That's what we want. And this elderberry, this advice that we're getting helps to build that immune system. So when we do get exposed to something, then we have a nice, strong fighting system to carry us through it.
Exactly. That is like the perfect explanation.
Oh,
Like,
thank you.
that was so good. Because yeah, sometimes we think getting sick is bad, but it's really not. It is our body's way of being able to detox. And as somebody who really has to like support and aid my body in that process, because my body, methylation, which is just like a fancy word for detoxification. Okay. That's really what it is. My body doesn't, I don't know what I want to speak over myself right now, but sometimes my body needs a little extra support during that
I
process.
think that was a beautiful way of saying that.
Very nice. So with that, there are things that when I do get sick, I'm adding in, like I'm going to add in a detox bath. You guys do this too.
Yeah.
Like,
What's a detox bath?
so a detox bath just means I'm going to take a hot bath. Now, this is not necessarily if I'm running a raging fever, I'm not doing that. Okay.
If I have a 99 fever, I would probably still do it. If I had 102 fever, I would not.
Yeah. That's a perfect explanation of that. Yeah. So low grade fever or no fever, I am getting in the bathtub. I'm getting in a hot bath. I'm putting in Epsom salts. I'm putting in Himalayan salts. I love the Himalayan salts because they're so good. With Sage Legacy Provisions, we actually have a detoxing like bath salts and it has Himalayan salt in it. And this is why.
Awesome.
Because the Himalayan salt that we use is really great about it's like a slow pull of the toxins, but then it's a put back of the minerals, the trace minerals that your body needs.
And
I
most people are depleted of those trace minerals. Most people don't have what you need as far as those minerals go, which is why we're walking around all the time feeling depleted, feeling sluggish, feeling brain foggy.
Yeah. Thanks. And then like ours has like lavender in it because lavender is like it's just a fave of ours. And we use organic like lavender flowers and essential oil. And it just makes it this really spa-like experience. And when you're feeling terrible, what's better than to get in a bath and just feel like you're at the spa? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, and that hot bath can stimulate an artificial fever. And so if you're not already in that state where your body has gotten warmer and produced a fever and you're stimulating white blood cell production, then by getting in a hot bath, you can still stimulate that white blood cell production and increase your soldiers so they go in and fight off the germ and you just heal faster.
You do. And one of the things that I learned through my parasite cleansing was the dry brushing. So that's another way, like I said, I need a little more support with methylation in my body. And the dry brushing is it's like leveling up.
Yeah.
So I'm taking a detox bath. I'm feeling under the weather. Maybe my body needs help or support mounting a fever. Well, I'm also going to add this additional thing in. So before I get my detox bath, I'm going to dry brush.
Yep.
And that just opens up kind of your lymphatic system and all the things to help to push those white blood cells to where they need to go.
That's right, because the lymphatic system is the only system in your body that won't work on its own, that actually requires stimulation in order to flush. And so we need to manually get that moving to allow everything to push through.
Yeah. And the other thing that I try to do, this is a recent thing that I've learned, I'm telling you, it's blowing my mind because it's like I saw with my child lately, we did this for him and it was night and day. He had like some swollen lymph nodes and I knew we got to get the lymph flowing because the lymph nodes are doing their job, right? They're doing the thing, but they needed a little bit extra support. So they call it like the big six. And it's where you open up all your lymphatic drainage. Okay. And there's like 6 ports that are like where you really want to get after and open them up so your lymph can get. And his neck was so like swollen. I think, did I send you a picture? I can't remember if
You
I
did. Well, and you showed me on Marco Polo, it was just almost like what you would picture of somebody who had the mumps because it was just like so big. It was so swollen. It was like he had golf balls.
Yeah. And so I was like, hey, bud, like, I need you to open up your drainage pathways. And of course, he's like, almost 18. So he was like, really, mom? Want to feel better or not? And he's like, I'll do it. Hey, I'll stand on my head if that's what I need to do at this point. So he's opening up his drainage pathways, getting a detox bath. I kid you not, he gets out of the bath and the swelling is like visibly, like 20 minutes later, the swelling is visibly less.
That's amazing.
really cool, like the human body doing its thing, but sometimes it needs just a little extra support to be able to be successful in whatever that thing is.
Have you ever run out of gas or, like, had your car break down on the side of the road? Like,
I
I mean
ran naps one time in a Prius.
okay, yeah, so, like so you're sitting there and especially with your Prius, you can push the car. You can make it go. Like, you can hold the wheel and get outside that door and push the car where it needs to go, right? But if a couple other people come behind you and push with you, it makes it a lot easier.
Yeah.
Having that extra help, that extra support just allows the whole process to be easier. It doesn't mean you wouldn't figure it out on your own. Your body can handle this. But I don't know about you, but I wanna minimize the amount of time that I am down for the count.
Uh,
Yeah.
Yeah. And especially for my kids. You know, my son is a football player. We're in the middle of football season, and he is playing quarterback right now because their quarterback broke his arm in the middle of the season, and he's
In
had to
a
take
rough year.
yeah, he's taken on this, like, extreme, role on the team, and so he couldn't be sick, he didn't have time, so it was like, what do we have to do to get him well and in the quickest way possible? And that's what spurred our conversation about, we need to share this information in podcasts because how many people are out there and they don't even know the really simple things that they could do, like a bath. Get in the bath, and if you don't have Epsom salts and you don't have Himalayan salt detoxing baths, whatever, get in a hot bath. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, soak in a bath for a little while.
And hydrate.
Yeah, and drink some I always say, like, room temp water while you're in there is good too, because you're hot, you're sweaty.
Well, and you're getting in there and all you're trying to sweat this out. You're trying to purge out a bunch of junk, right? So you want to give your body enough hydration. So I say get yourself a big, like a quart jar, 32 ounces of water. I mean, everyone's carrying around the giant Stanleys. Oh, that's funny. Everyone's carrying around the giant Stanleys these days. So, 40 ounces of water or whatever. Like get yourself a big old thing of water. And if you don't have access to your trace minerals or your electrolytes or whatever, take a little pinch of sea salt and a little pinch of baking soda and put them in your water and mix it up and drink that. Like, there are ways that you can get it without going out and buying, fancy electrolyte mixes to put in your water. But hydrate, because if you're if you've ever tried to scrub off your dishes in your sink with a dry sponge, it doesn't work very well. But if
Right.
you get that sponge wet, you can easily clean off whatever you need to clean off. You have to hydrate to let your body clean out what it needs to clean out, to have it actually get rid of that yuck. Otherwise, it's just sitting there.
Wow.
It's
Hanging out.
important.
Yeah, very.
Yeah. So I'm just trying to think of the things that we talked about when we were working with that strep protocol. So we were hydrating, he was in the bath, you did your elderberry, we did the essential oils, the respiratory essential oils. Both of us use essential oils. I know not everyone loves them. I'm a really big fan. I think that they serve a purpose just like any other thing found in nature serves a purpose. And there are respiratory oils that you can use that just help to keep all of those pathways open and draining. And they make such a big difference. Which ones did you have on hand? I'm trying to remember what you used. Was it Raven or Raven Sarah?
Well, I used Raven. I, like, made a roller with Raven and coconut oil, and then, the Breathe Again roller from Young Living. I was actually out of town this weekend, and Levi said, "I was looking for your Breathe Again roller," and I was just like, "Never been so proud." Aw. He's like, "I couldn't breathe, and I was looking for it." I'm like, "Oh, cool." Because right now in Texas, it's fall is happening, and it's like everybody's allergies are insane, so he
Oh,
was like
yes.
trying to help open him up before he went to bed.
Yep.
With Raven with coconut oil in a roller, we used the Breathe Again roller. We used eucalyptus, like, in the shower, in the bath. We did what we call, like, the allergy balm in
Lemon and peppermint.
coconut oil on the feet with socks um, I'm trying to think of what we did on his chest, and that may have been what we did on his chest too, the allergy balm. Just because, yeah, he wasn't dealing with allergies at the time, but that mixture is so good for just, like, helping to open up, and it gets I think one of the things about that is, like, it's it's kind of got some antihistamine properties. in those things, lavender, right?
Well, lavender is known as nature's allergy.
Right.
It's kind of a natural antihistamine. So, go outside and get yourself a lavender flower. That's one of my friends, she went to Colorado and got really sick. Allergies went crazy. Everything got really congested, and she messaged me and she's like, "I don't have my oils with me. I don't know what to do." She went outside, collected a whole bunch of, like, pine needles, like fir needle, and took them and, like, rubbed them together and put them in the bath with her, and everything opened up and flushed. Like, it doesn't have to be the essential oil bottle, but because that essential oil is what comes from the plant.
Exactly. Yeah. So go get your lavender and just,
If
yeah,
that's what you have, then that's what you should use.
use what you have. Yeah, for sure. So I know we did that like on his chest, and I'm trying to think. And then of course we used some herbs to support his immune system just to like ramp it up and aid it in fighting off everything. So we used
Black?
black cumin seed oil,
Interesting. I don't know that one.
and we used an herb called scutellaria, which is like an anti-inflammatory, antiviral, anti all the things, you know,
Yep.
it's an herb. And then we use this other one, it's called mangista. It's also an herb. And what's really cool about mangista is that it is a friend to the lymphatic system.
Mhm.
So, something about this specific kiddo, he had his appendix taken out back in the springtime. And so we knew his immune system was kind of a little bit not operating at as a high of a rate as probably as it was before that. Because what happens when you have an emergency surgery, especially with something like that, they're giving you a lot of antibiotics.
Right.
So it definitely took a toll on his gut microbiome. And then with that, so I knew we needed to also aid like his gut microbiome in the healing process. And one of the things that like your appendix does, because there's like a lot of people that are like, the appendix doesn't do anything. It's just a hot dog shaped organ in your body, and who cares, right? But actually it does. And I've been learning a lot about that. And I've learned that it actually is a part, well, duh, it's a part of your digestive system. Okay.
Right.
Also a part in aiding your lymphatic system. So when I learned that, it all made sense that he was ill and what happened. His
Yeah.
lymph nodes were like having this hyper reaction
Yeah.
because his body was just trying to figure out how do we do this?
Right. Was this his first big sickness post-operation? Wow. Yeah, so this was just brand new. His body was in learning mode.
Yeah, it was. And I
Mhm.
that his body will now know going forward kind of how to function in that way,
Yeah.
but we also know how to like aid that system. So I knew that adding the mangista, which is the herb that aids your lymphatic system, was going to be helpful to him just because he didn't have that part of his system anymore.
That's so amazing. That is so amazing. So, was there anything else that you do or that you did? I don't wanna move on if there was something else you wanted to share.
A lot of rest.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of rest, and I think that's ultimately what it boils down to. When you look at the things that stack up this time of year, we talked about the sugar, we talked about the stress, we talked about the lack of sleep, and the alcohol for a lot of parties. And granted, I would assume that that's not your children being depleted by the alcohol, but probably yourself.
Probably not, but
Probably not. But it does take a huge toll on your immune system and makes your inflammation levels go way up. So, thinking about all of that, anytime that you prioritize your rest, you prioritize your downtime, your mental health, you're doing things that fill your cup to help you handle your life better.
yeah,
I was telling my friend the other day, I count anything as self-care when it fills me up instead of depleting me.
yeah,
So
that's
maybe that's just having a cup of tea with a friend.
yeah.
And maybe I have to be careful about which friends because there are some friends that don't fill me up that I am happy to give to, but they don't fill me up. And it's not self-care then. It's
Mhm.
self-care when I walk away and my cup is full.
Exactly. Yeah.
So think about what's filling your cup, what leaves you feeling good and rested and ready to be able to take care of other people in your life. And that's the kind of self-care that we want to look at as we're headed into this season where our bodies are under a little extra stress. When you are going to, oh, I'm sorry, what did you want to say?
Don't be afraid to say no to things.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that is self-care when you say no, and you don't have to explain yourself. You can just be like, "Nope, that's not gonna work for me." Especially as we're going into a time where the schedule gets a little fuller than maybe normal, and you don't wanna miss out. You don't wanna, it's the FOMO, but just knowing, like, you can be choosy about where you're spending your time and your energy, and it's important right now to protect that.
Yeah.
So, it's just this is us giving you permission
100% yes.
if you need to.
Yeah. That was a hard lesson for me to learn. And I feel like it's a hard lesson for a lot of people to learn. But once you start prioritizing that, you'll just see such a big difference in your overall well-being. And when you are doing better, your family is also doing better. So, so many good things. When it comes to all of the extra yummies that we get this time of year, just think protein first. Think protein first. If you are having your protein and your fiber before you're having your sweets, then your body will balance the blood sugar better because you have your protein and your fiber, which are going to help steady your blood sugar levels. So as you add in sugar, then it will just help. It will help to keep them more neutral instead of a major spike and a major crash. And also, if you've already had protein and fiber, then you are less likely to eat as much of the sugar because you'll get full.
Right. Yeah. Less
So
likely yeah,
what was that?
less likely to overindulge.
Exactly. Yes. So that goes for you and it goes for your children. Just feed them and then let them go out trick or treating and then let them binge on their candy and then maybe tuck it away for a day or so.
Yeah. Have a timeout.
Right.
Fun. A break.
Right. Yes, exactly. For a long time, I incorporated a no sugar on school days rule at my house. And I was like, have the sugar, eat your Halloween candy on the weekends if you want to, totally fine. But that just kind of naturally gives them a break during the week and lets their bodies kind of settle but still allows them an opportunity to enjoy their bounty when they're ready to.
And what a blessing that is to their teachers.
All right.
Right. How nice of you, really.
Oh, it's so true because I'm the one that has to deal with the sugar crashes on the weekend.
I mean, and then at the school all hyped up on artificial food and fake chemicals,
So true. So true. And that's what it boils down to, guys. I think we've said it again and again and again over the course of this podcast today. But when you're eating the things that are naturally found in nature instead of the things that are artificially created, your body is just going to function better. It just is. You will be happier all around, even if those things are sweets and yummies, because there's so many things that you can make with, you know, the elderberry syrup, like what you were saying, or honey or maple syrup, or the real robust maple syrup that's just full of minerals and yummies. So good.
the best. We go through like a gallon of maple syrup. Like we buy it by like it's comical really.
Yeah.
But it is. It's like it's almost like medicine in itself. I'm staring at mine on the counter right now. I'm like,
For breakfast this morning, I had sourdough bread with butter and fresh raw local honey and turkey sausage, and I was dipping my turkey sausage in the honey. I actually took honey and poured it on my plate and added extra honey to it so I could dip my sausage in the honey. It was so good.
I bet it was good. I'm like, oh my gosh.
It was so good. So there's room for things like that. What I did this morning was balance. It was balanced, and it was all stuff that my body knows what to do with. I didn't get out, Hershey bars for breakfast.
Today.
Not today. Not today. Is there anything else you want to walk away with today, Rebeka? Anything else that we didn't get to?
Think so. I think we kind of covered like I said, kind of dipping your toe into the deep end of all things health and wellness during this sick season, just There was a podcast I listened to the other day, and I've mentioned this a lot, but about just like feeling safe in your body. So if you can make that shift into just feeling safe, like if that's the only thing that you do, I just think that is the one of the most powerful things you can do
Yeah.
is make that mindset shift of like, I'm safe here. Everything that I need is here. And my body will tell me when it needs something, and I will listen to it and I will trust it.
And I think that's what it is. You feel safe when you build trust with yourself. When you see that your body needs something and you follow through, and you see that your body doesn't want something and you step away. Because when your body says, no, don't eat the ice cream sundae. And guys, if you're listening, you will be able to tell. Like there are times that the body says, no, don't do that. And you think, oh, I really want it. I'm going to do it anyway. And then you pay for it because you end up feeling bad afterwards. If you start listening when it says no and start listening when it says yes, you will build this trust that will leave you feeling so safe and so cared for.
Yeah. Agreed.
Pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. So our takeaway from today is choose one or two things that we talked about today and just start incorporating them in your day. If it were me, and actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit up my friend Rebeka's here. I'm going to hit up her business and Sage Legacy Provisions. Did I get it right? Yeah, I did. I'm going to hit them up on Instagram. I will make sure that we have that link in the description here and go over and see all the amazing things that they are doing, guys. So awesome. Get yourself some elderberry syrup and just start incorporating that into your day. And like she was saying, if you feel a little depleted, add a little more and see how it changes your season this year. See how that is different from how you've been in the past, because I guarantee you, you will notice a difference.
Not agree more.
Yeah. I can't wait to hear your stories though, because I know these people are going to get this elderberry and they're going to start using it and the stories are going to start to flood in. And I'm very excited for that.
You guys.
Yeah. It's going to be awesome. Thank you so much for showing up today. Guys, like I said, make sure that you follow Rebeka and follow Sage Legacy Provisions over on all of their social media platforms. And then hit us up, Whole Life Vitality, here in the comments. Like, subscribe, follow. You can find us basically anywhere that social media exists. We exist. You can find, if you're not sure where that might be, just go to wholelifevitality.com and you can find us there as well. Thank you so much for showing up today. We will see you next time. Bye, friends.